Good, thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure having you back on. I'm glad to have you back on to let me interview. And before we get into the big news, I just want to ask, like, how's your summer been so far, or has been?
It was good. Um, can't complain. We thought we might fight in July, so we kind of were getting ready for that, and just never happened. So it was just consistent training. That was about it. Not too much rest. Some little tweaks, little small injuries here and there, but nothing too bad. Um, but yeah, it was good. Nice summer in St. Louis.
That's great. Like, what's the weather normally like in the summer over there?
Hot. Uh, Actually, it wasn't too bad this time. It definitely had its hot days. If it's hot, I never really go out too much. I mean, if I'm training all the time, then I just train, go back home, eat, take a nap. So I didn't get to spend too much outdoors.
Awesome, awesome. Now I know that you had a fight previously booked, as you mentioned, and then obviously you have the next one, or you have the one that's been replaced now. So, obviously, talking about your summer, like after your win back in April, did you want to fight in the summer, or did you plan to take some of those months off? What was going on there?
Um, I'm down to fight whenever. Summer would have been perfect. It's not like I hated the idea of it. It was just like, okay, cool. The tournament might happen in July, and I might fight around then. So I didn't think much of it. I was just getting ready for it. It just didn't happen. I think the only time I probably try not to fight would be around like Christmas, because that's like usually when like families get together. We try not to do anything. So I would say throughout the year, that's probably the only time I would try to not to fight.
Awesome. Now I know, obviously, I'm going to get to your big fight in a second, but you were slated. You were supposed to fight Albert Dickinson.
Um,
His name. Yeah. Now, when you fighting that guy, you being fifth ranked, I don't think he was ranked. So if you had beat him, and depending on how you had beaten him, do you feel like maybe there could have been still an opportunity for you to be a replacement in that Grand Prix?
uh, yes. Um, I mean, in this scenario, like we would have fought on the same day anyway,
Mhm.
so it would have been weird. It's funny. Like me and Carl was supposed to fight a few times already, and it always fell through. Like we knew opponents were given to us, which is fine. I guess the people behind the scenes have plans of how they want things to fall out. Um, so he wasn't ranked, but he is dangerous. I definitely feel he should have been in the rankings a long time ago. And rankings is a weird thing. It's like sure we have like main guys in there, but at the same time we have a bunch of people who should be there, but they're not. So we shouldn't think of like, oh, you're not ranked, so you're not good. Like they still good. Like they can still finish you. Anybody can finish anybody any day. So he's definitely a tough opponent. Um, yeah, now we have a champion, so that's gonna be even tougher.
Yeah, and I do want to touch upon that now. That's, I think get the elephant out of the room here. You got to fight with Vadim Nemkov at Bellator 268. Like, what was the reaction when you got the call for a chance to fight him?
The first thing like came to my mind was like the Rocky movies when Creed's manager was telling Rocky, "Hey, do you believe America is land of opportunities?" Da da da. It's like that was like one of the first things that came to mind. I'm like, oh shit, like they're giving me a shot. That's pretty cool. Like, how does that happen? And well, they were kind of that idea that my fight was already like set in for a while. Like I knew I could be a replacement in any fight. So like we're kind of getting ready, but we didn't know who would drop out. And then a few weeks before they even announced, they said the Rumble was out. So get ready, you might be the replacement. So it wasn't definite, but it was a really, really big chance that that's what's going to happen. So we already were preparing for it a little bit, like 2 weeks before, 2, 3 weeks before they announced it, but we weren't sure. Like it was tough to prepare when it's not official, but you still getting ready for it just because they said like, hey, it's a big possibility. So and then once they announced like, hey, Julius, we're sending you a contract, sign it. That was pretty cool. It's like, whoa, like this is crazy. It's like I knew I'm gonna like do fighting for a while, and but and I knew like, oh, like it would be cool to fight for a title, this and that. But it was always more just thinking and never really thinking that it actually was gonna happen or like this soon. And I would like boom, like it just dropped in my lap. So it's like, whoa, like all right, I guess this is what I've been asking for this whole time. Don't be scared now. Just go and take it.
It's like definitely realities now actually set in, right? Like you kind of have to process it for a second. Now it's like, wow, I'm actually gonna fight for the title now, like
Right.
just that. And you're basically just leapfrogging over and getting into that title contention there. But that being said, I know you said that you kind of had an idea that there was a possibility that fight may happen. So obviously, you still had the fight with Carl booked. So obviously, I'm assuming you were still focusing on that fight, but do you have an idea like what was it that changed in your preparation for that fight to this fight besides going 5 rounds?
Well, 5 rounds is definitely a big one, and I think Carl would have tried to maybe wrestle me more while Nemkov throws a lot of kicks and he tries to soften people up with those.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't too much that changed, but they were like, yeah, definitely like few things changed, like the 5 round thing, and me knowing that Nemkov is always gonna have those little stutter motions to have me bite on him, and so he could make me flinch and then attack, and also he loves the leg kicks. So we just kind of have to like check in return and make him pay for it. Because I mean, if I stand there and let him kick me over time, it's gonna catch up to me. So can't really let that happen. So we've been just trying to keep up on the scoreboard and put the damage back to him, and I just let him damage me the whole time.
Excellent, excellent. Now that being said, obviously with Nemkov, he's kind of in the same situation, but however, I mean, he's probably known Rumble has been his opponent for a while now, so he's probably put a lot more of his camp into his opponent. Is there any like what are your thoughts on him? Do you feel like there might be more advantage for you? Like you have a quick little turnaround here. What are your mindset going into the fight?
What do you mean?
Like sorry, so like obviously with Nemkov he had more time to prepare for Anthony Johnson,
Right.
knowing he's known ahead of time, so maybe he started his camp earlier, so he's investing more time into a different opponent. But for you haven't probably put maybe as much time possibly.
Yeah. I'm sure his game plan is not going to try change too much. I'm sure he was worried about Rumble trying to throw up giant punches and put Nemkov out. So he knows that's not going to be too much the case with me. I'm going to try to just be more technical versus throwing bombs. Do I think that he's thinking I'm a more dangerous opponent than Rumble? Maybe cardio-wise and technique-wise. In my mind, he probably would have tried to take Anthony down. While with me, he's probably gonna have to like mix it up a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But as in preparation-wise, I think he's still gonna be in shape. It's still the same day. It's not like it's earlier. And I mean, he has a great camp. So, and he's always technical, always fast, always lots of quick, twitchy motions. So for him, I don't think he's gonna have to switch up too much. So I think he's right on track.
No, I mean, you've just thrown Rumble's name out there, but obviously the champion, he's successfully retained in being able to defend his belt against some tough guys. So what separates you from the rest of the pack?
I guess we'll find out. I don't want to say like, oh, I'm better than them, blah, 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 this and that. Like, part of me wants to say completely opposite, because those guys been in the game for much longer and they have much more experience than me. So it's like, I definitely want to say like, oh, I'm better than them, blah, blah, blah. I'll make it all different. I do try to make it maybe a little bit more technical, a little bit more textbook. So we'll see how that plays out, because that's Nemkov's game. He keeps his hands up and he doesn't fade away with his technique. And I want to say like maybe that's what I try to do as well, versus some people, they like are just all over the place. It's like, what style do you have? Like, you just switch to 3 different styles according how tired you are. So I try to keep the same thing throughout, and he does too. So I think that's what's going to be a little different. Is it going to be more successful than for other people? I don't know. We'll see. Everybody wants to hear me say like, oh yes, it's going to be all different, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to win. I don't have a crystal ball. I never had one either. I just went out there and did what I knew I was supposed to do, and it plays out the way it plays out. So it's definitely going to be different, I feel. Definitely going to be an interesting fight. Hopefully all my butterflies are in the right order, and hopefully I perform how I should perform.
You kind of talked about already about, kind of knowing what you're going to expect from Vadim, and how a little bit different than how he might prepare for someone like Anthony Johnson. I guess this is more of a question for any kind of fighter, but for you, do you ever, during your camps, do you ever use any fight footage of your opponents? And if you have in the past, are you going to be doing it for the champion here?
I definitely looked some footage of him. I try not to look too much at it. We'll watch it a few times and it's like, okay, he's consistently doing this, this and that. These are his strengths. He tries to do this every time. And we try not to overthink it. We don't try to like count how many jabs he throws in the first round, second round, and this and that. We just look at few main things, and that's about it. I try not to overthink it. And plus, the more I watch it, the more scary it gets. So I just watch some, like halfway through the camp. It's like, okay, mental notes on this, that. And I just try to leave it alone. Because watching footage every time, you might spot something, but for me personally, I give too much credit to all my opponents. So it's like, if I watch footage, it could be a complete nobody. And I would be like, whoa, this guy's good. So like, stuff gets into my head way too easy. So yeah, I watch it, make mental notes. Okay, that's how it is. And I just train according to that.
It's not your first time headlining a card. I mean, you got a chance to headline one of the LFA's cards, fighting for the title there. So is this fight any different being in a promotion like Bellator?
Yeah, it's Bellator. So it definitely is. I mean, I didn't know when I would fight for a title. It's like, my thought was like, oh, like next year or two, if I keep winning the way I keep winning. So it's like, and now it's like, so yeah, for LFA, it was my second fight, my title fight. Right now, it's a 4th fight in Bellator, and it's a title fight, while I wasn't even thinking it was going to come that fast. So it's definitely a little sooner than I expected. And it's definitely a much, much bigger deal. So super excited over it, but I'm gonna have to think more like as not a title fight. It's just like, okay, I have a really good opponent. He's gonna come at me. He's gonna come at it aggressive. Just fight back. But so yeah, the title thing, I have to put it to the side, because I'll be thinking more about that versus Nemkov. and that's on Vadim Nemkov. So I'll just have to put that idea of the belt to the side and just concentrate on a really good opponent.
Excellent. And what changes for Julius Anglickas winning the title and then, going into the next round and winning that $1 million prize? I mean, what changes for you?
Probably one of the first things, I'll get a different apartment. I live in the studio right now, and for like past 3 years, and I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to. It's like, I mean, I could get a different place, but I'm like, this is good. But I think like getting a nice little paycheck, it's like, all right, cool. It's the time to upgrade a little bit, pay some bills, pay my student debt, pay off my car. I just get debt free. That would be probably one of the smartest things, and the rest invest. Because I mean, I definitely don't want to make a mistake like most athletes do, where they have money, they think the same amount of money is going to keep coming in, and they spend a lot. So I'll just have to put a lot away and invest and just be smarter with it.
Excellent. And I mean, I never want you to ever overlook any opponent, but getting the title, would it be something that you like to throw up on the wall, something like that, put it in the cage?
Yeah, if I won a title, I would definitely hang it up or do something. I mean, no one can take that away from me. Like, yes, sure, you can lose the title again, but nobody can take away the fact that you were a champion at one point. So, or even that you fought for a title. I mean, how cool is that? So, it definitely would be awesome, and I'll definitely try my best to make that happen.
Awesome. And just before I let you go here, you got the co-main event, Bader and Anderson. They're fighting on the just below you there. So, got any prediction for those two guys?
No idea. For some reason, like first thought that comes to my mind is Corey Anderson, but then when I think about it, then I think of Bader winning it. And then the more I think about it, then I jump back to Corey. So I really feel it's a coin toss. I don't know why, but I guess, I mean, if you put a gun to my head and I don't have to pick one, maybe Corey. I'll just go with Corey. We'll see what happens.
Yes, we will. Well, thank you for taking your time, Julius. For everyone
Thank you.
that doesn't know, Julius Anglickas taking on the champ, Bellator 268. And again, not waking up the time, and good luck.
Thank you.